Hey there, everybody. We got some more World Cup to talk to you about. Another group preview here. That's Group B. That's Canada's group. We'll get to that in just a second. I'm Bruce Marshall. First of all, though, couple of quick housekeeping reminders. As always, don't forget, click that subscribe button on your screen right there. That makes sure you get access to all of our Wager Talk TV videos. Speaking of access, World Cup All Access. That's for all of my picks for the World Cup starting June 11th. And special offer for all of my picks all the way through the final at the Meadowlands in New Jersey on July 19th. Just $149. That's a real nice bargain price there. That's my World Cup All Access pack. Remember, that offer is good just until the World Cup starts on June 11th this coming week. Okay, let's take a look at this Group B. I think it's a very interesting group. Canada featured here, of course, and will be playing all of its games north of the border, one in Toronto, two in Vancouver. Most of the other matches are going to be on the West Coast. So that's what we have to look forward to in Group B. As you can see on the crawl at the bottom of the screen, the teams in the group besides Canada, we have Switzerland, we have Bosnia Herzegovina, and we have Qatar, which has made the tournament legitimately this year after getting in as the host in 2022. So what have we got here? We'll get to Canada in a second, but I think the team to beat in this group, and one that I think is a real dark horse, we mentioned it in one of our other earlier videos, is Switzerland. And a lot of people in Europe really like this side, and for good reason. I mean, they were the near men of Euro 2024. Took it to the quarterfinals there with England. Very unfortunate to go out at penalty kicks. A lot of people, me included, thought they were good enough to get to the final where they would have run into Spain there. Nonetheless, it's a very similar looking side here. And Switzerland has a pretty good history at big tournaments here of dealing with some big boys and doing very well, getting results, including a win over Spain back at the 2010 World Cup. Since then, results against Brazil, results against Germany, results against France a couple of times, and a very emphatic win over Italy in the knockout phase at the top of the knockout phase in Euro 2024. They are accomplished, and across the past decade, they've been in these big tournaments every 2 years, whether it be the Euros or the World Cup. And for the past decade, they've been getting into the knockout phase each time. They've been knocking on the door. Why do I like them so much? Well, it's a pretty established side here, although a couple of familiar faces will not be there. You may have noted the goalie Jan Sommer, seen him in the past. He's the one who saved the penalty kick in the shootout right at the end from Kylian Mbappe in the top of the knockout phase at Euro 2020, which was played in 2021. And that allowed Switzerland to get through to the quarters. And that was at the Euro 2020. And he announced his international retirement after the last Euro. So did Sheridan Shaqiri. You probably remember him popping up, scoring a lot of goals for Switzerland every 2 years, whether it be in the Euros or the World Cup. He's still kicking around the Swiss League at Basel, but he did announce his international retirement after Euro 2024. Nonetheless, it's a pretty established and a successful squad here. They rolled through the qualifiers with no problem. Mert Yakin, the coach, a little bit out of favor before the last Euros, but then all of a sudden, then he became very popular in the country, and he has impressed observers all over Europe with his adaptability. He can switch tactics and switch styles, and he's got a very versatile squad, so they can do a lot of different things. The one thing they do have, though, is the midfield pilot there running the engine room, and that's Granit Xhaka. Team captain. He's been here for a while. He's right in the prime of his career right now, and just off a great season at Sunderland in the EPL, helping the Black Cats qualify for Europe in their first season. After promotion, he was a target of Regis Labrie after Sunderland got promoted last year, and man, did he deliver for them this year. But that's no surprise. He did the same thing the last few years for Xabi Alonso, some really good Bayer Leverkusen sides, including the Bundesliga champ from a few years ago. And he's the man for Switzerland running the show at midfield. He's not the only guy, though. Breel Mbolo, the striker, very accomplished. He led the qualifying group in scoring, scored 7 goals in 10 international matches last year. This year at Rennes in Ligue 1, one of the surprise packages in France. He had another big year there, just as he had been doing at Monaco in recent years. Very accomplished. Now, he did have a little bit of a visa problem getting into the States last week. Didn't feature in that friendly warm-up game against Australia last Saturday in San Diego, but he will be there, and he will be the target man up front. Watch Johan Manzambi, also very electric, young midfielder, 20 years old, but boy, he creates some real problems out there with his pace an ability to get up the field and real sharp edge that he provides, an extra sharp edge for this offense. And so he'll sort of take that place of Shaqiri and maybe even go beyond that. Freiburg this year in the Bundesliga, really impressed there, and he also impressed in the Europa League. So he did work on the big stage. What do we like here for Switzerland? I think they are a good bet to win the group. That is not too prohibitively priced at minus 138 or so. So I would do that. So I think Switzerland gets there, and I think they get at least to the last 16, and that's another minus 138 there. Now, that's where they would run into Portugal if the tournament proceeds the way I think. If Portugal wins its group and then wins the first knockout phase, and that would be a rematch of a battle that did not go well for Switzerland at the top of the knockout phase at the World Cup 2022 in Qatar. 6-1 Portugal. Be a revenge spot for Switzerland. I think it'd be a lot closer this time. Anyway, that's something to look forward to there. Also, finishing 1-2 in the group with Canada right behind them, plus 200. Not a bad price. We mentioned Mbolo as the top scorer for Switzerland at plus 220. I think that's a decent price there as well. Watch these guys. They could be very dangerous. They'll get in the knockout phase, I think, and then maybe cause some trouble. So keep an eye on Switzerland. I would also keep an eye on Canada here. And there are a lot of people who think that actually this might be the best side of all the three co-hosts. They are the only side with an American coach, and that's Jesse Marsh. He's got some experience in England, and he really has implemented a style with Canada. They call it the Maple Press. Very creative there, Canada side. But they press high. He's got these guys. Their work rate is very good. Now, the one thing we want to do is watch the injury report here. Alphonso Davies, winger from Bayern Munich. Livewire scored 15 goals in 58 appearances for Canada, but he did strain his hamstring in the Champions League semifinals against PSG, and he didn't feature the rest of the way for Bayern Munich. And he's in a race to be fit for the opener against Bosnia up in Toronto. We'll see about that. He is expected, though, to be available at some point in the group phase. That's very important because the depth is a little bit of a question here at this side. But in Davies, Jonathan David, the striker from Juventus, who had a great run at Lille in the French league before that. These are two top qualities guys in big European leagues. Theo Buchanan, midfielder at Villarreal in La Liga in Spain, also very accomplished performer there. So they got some guys who have made their mark in the big leagues in Europe. And I think they're in pretty good shape. Now, they'd be very disappointed if they don't get in the knockout phase up north of the border, and I think they will. Now, this is only their third World Cup. They have yet to win a game. They were in 4 years ago in Qatar, but they made a much better showing than that 0-3 record indicates. They really should have beaten Belgium in the opening match and put up a good fight against Croatia and Morocco sides who ended up getting all the way to the semifinals. Canada's ready for a breakthrough. And the way the knockout round would go, if they finish second in this group, they'd probably be favored over the second place finisher from Group A. And that could get them into the round of 16. And that's where I think they'd go. And that's not a bad price for Canada to get to advance the round of 16 at plus 125 there. As I mentioned before, I do like that 1-2 at the top of the group with Switzerland 1, Canada 2 at plus 200. I think that's worthwhile. I also think on a flyer here to be the top CONCACAF side at plus 333. Plus 333, and that's CONCACAF, the North American side. So that's USA and Mexico. I think there's a chance Canada might do better than any of them, and that might not be a bad punt as well at plus 333 or so. David as the top scorer, too. He's going to be the target man, and I think that would be price about plus 110. Not a bad look there. So keep your eye on Canada. I think they do advance into the knockout phase, maybe all the way to the round of 16. We'll see how it goes. How about Bosnia Herzegovina? They took the long way, the hard way to get in the tournament. They were one of the last teams to qualify on the last day of qualifiers. They had to beat Italy in a playoff, a favorite Italy, and they did it in penalty kicks. You talk about drama. But boy, they had a wild bobsled ride through the tournament. Just barely missed out on automatic qualification. Had to go the playoff route. A couple of matches there, Wales and then Italy, but they won them. This side is functional and it is rugged. Sergei Barbara is the manager. We remember him playing in the Bundesliga, a very feisty character, and he seems to have adapted well as a manager. The last time they were in the World Cup was 2014, and who was the target man? Edin Zico. 12 years later, he's now 40 years old. Edin Zico is back. and he will be featured again. He's still pretty competitive, still pretty good. He helped Schalke get promoted back to the Bundesliga this past season. They've got some other guys too who feature in the Bundesliga who can score some goals. So I don't think this team is going to be an easy out at all. There's one thing to remember here. This is a group where I think we'll get 3 qualifiers because we have a team at the bottom who's going to be, I think, 3 points for all of them. That's Qatar. We'll get to that in a second. But I do think Bosnia Herzegovina gets into the knockout phase, probably eliminated right at the top, but I think that's a good price to get eliminated at the round of 32. But I do think they make it into the knockout phase, and I think Zico's probably the leading scorer. You get close to plus 200 on that. One more, we're going to talk about Qatar really quick. Who's managing them now? Julen Lopetegui. Remember him? He's bounced around Europe. He had been Spain's coach before the World Cup in 2018 and was dismissed right on the eve of the World Cup. Because he took the Real Madrid job, and they didn't want him coaching Spain after that. But he's won some. Sevilla won a Europa League there once. West Ham, Real Madrid didn't go so well for him. He is Qatar's 6th manager though since the last World Cup. They don't have players who really feature anywhere else on the continent except in Qatar. Very few of them have ever tried to make their way in Europe. I think they're outgunned here, and I think the prices you want to look at here. On 0 points in the group, you get a pretty decent price at plus 162. And to be the lowest scoring team at the World Cup, maybe that's possible, plus 1,000 there. It's going to be a tough road for Qatar. Anyway, that's our look at Group B. We'll watch Switzerland on top. I think Canada gets through. I think Bosnia Herzegovina does too. This will be some good action in Group B. Don't forget, if you have comments, hit the comment box on the screen there. I'd love to hear from you. And as always, don't forget, the special World Cup All Access Pack. All of my picks all the way through the World Cup, just $149. So we'll be back with more World Cup pretty soon. Until then, it's a goodbye from me.